Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 152. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benezowitz. The New York Knicks fall tonight to the Milwaukee Bucks, 111-107. They blow a 17-point lead in a highly contested fourth quarter game. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets not playing tonight. They're coming off a win versus the Miami Heat. Nets 18-2 in their last 20, and they get the win in the fourth quarter without Kevin Durant, who's out for about a month. We'll see exactly how long his timetable is. So a lot to get to with the Knicks, their loss to the Bucks, and with the Nets, who are surging, but obviously losing Kevin Durant for the foreseeable future. Alex, how are you?
Doing well. I'm doing well. Pretty up and down night. I had the Knicks were up 17 with 5 minutes left in the third. I was about to bet on the Bucks money line. Could have gotten about $110 for $20, and I was like, you know what? Every time I bet against the Knicks, I lose. I don't do it often. I've done it in the past, especially money line. I feel disgusting doing it. I'll bet the points against the Knicks, but the money line is just to feel icky. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I was going to do the points, but then it went up to 11.5, and then it went down to 9. I was like, let me get it back up over 10. And then it went down to 4. I was just like, okay, never mind. And then I could have won money. So whatever, tonight sucked. Anyway, go ahead.
The rest is history on that front. But I will say, for those that have more courage than Alex and want to have fun and do it responsibly, of course, you know that Bad Weather Fans is brought to you and sponsored by DraftKings. And I know all of you guys love the Nets and Knicks and basketball, but of course, football is here. So I want to tell everybody and all of our Bad Weather fans, the NFL playoff picture is locked, and my go-to place for wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off the road to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get 200 in free bets instantly. This is going to be a fun weekend, of course, now with 3 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday. It's going to be a blast for everybody. Plus, all new and existing customers can get no sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action so good. Why bet NFL playoffs anywhere else? And of course, as a big New York Giants fan, excited for Sunday's game versus the Vikings. Right now, the Vikings laying 3. We saw what the Giants did a couple of weeks ago, where there was a winnable game for them in Minnesota. I love them, and I love them here in this spot to win outright. So use promo code BWF. Have a lot of fun with that, and this is always one of the best weekends in sports. So for people listening out there, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BWF. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get 200 in free bets instantly, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BWF. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Knicks were rolling. Jalen Brunson, I have to say, he was awesome. He had a great fourth quarter. He could not be stopped by the Bucks. He got in the paint, hit threes, and it was a weird game for the Knicks because Randle was awful, but the Knicks were still leading. And then the Bucks had their surge in the third. It was a very back and forth game in the fourth quarter. Drew Holiday just hit a couple more shots, and ultimately that was the difference.
Yeah, the definition of hollow stats and volume scoring tonight from Julius Randle. 9 of 29 from the field, 1 of 12 from downtown. 6 of 7 from the line. So that's where he got some points. And he scored 25 points and 16 rebounds. So if you're just looking at the stat line, 25, 16, and 5,
great.
you're like, wow, looks good. But 30% from the field and 1 of 12 from 3. And he started off 0 for 9 from deep and he kept shooting. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? And it's just, you waste a night of Jalen Brunson dropping 40. You waste a night of quickly playing really well, and you're up 17 with 5 minutes left, and you lose the game. Like, what the fuck? It's just too many times have we seen this from a Thibs coach team. Too many times where you lose it in the third quarter, you lose it in the fourth quarter. I know it's the NBA, it's a game of runs, but this doesn't happen to good teams this much.
In Quickly's minutes, the distribution there when he was rolling to not be really there in the fourth quarter in crunch time, I would have a problem with that if I was a Knicks fan. Like how well he's playing, and then you get into the fourth quarter and he's really not there, to me was a problem. I know Jalen Brunson was getting going, but that I thought you have to have Emmanuel Quickly in this game. And then also on the front, the couple of Randle plays where he would get to the basket and just made 2 bad decisions. One in particular where he got stuck in the air and then kind of got deflected out of bounds. Nick still held possession, but there was like 1.6 on the clock. And at that point, it really just turned into a turnover. He held his own defensively against Giannis, but you could see the Knicks, their plan was just to double. And Milwaukee started hitting shots. The Knicks didn't rotate. And Milwaukee got hot in the last basically 3 to 4 minutes. And Brunson did all he could, but it was just not enough on that defensive side. Lopez hitting threes, put back tip in layups. And it was an exciting game, fun game, but just not enough for, the Knicks defensively couldn't stop Milwaukee at the end. And it was just too much.
Yeah, it's just the minutes distribution. It's just some mind-boggling stuff. And you say, like, why wasn't Quickly playing down the stretch? He played 43 minutes, you know what I mean, in the game, which is crazy. It's like, why wasn't his minutes distributed? He was started tonight. Why was it like, you know what I'm saying? Like why is he heavy minutes early and then not available late? Because he's probably gassed. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you got Evan Fournier on the floor in crunch time minutes, and 2 weeks ago he was out of the rotation. I just don't understand this coach. Toppin is still working his way back. I'm not going to give him a hard, give him shit for 8 minutes tonight. Thibs shit for 8 minutes tonight. But it's tough, man. It's just so tough because this team is going nowhere. They might get the 6 seed, they might get the 7 seed, 9 seed, whatever, get in the play-in tournament, maybe get a first round series and lose. And we knew this was going to happen. It's just a giant waste of time this entire season. And tonight showed why. And the reason why changes won't happen with this organization is because of the toxic positivity from some fans, some of these content creators, or, these stat sites or video aggregator sites, and they just want content, and they know homers like tweets and retweet more than people who are mad or angry at the team. And they just keep pushing these positive spins on these terrible games. And that's the reason why they'll never fire Thibs. They'll never trade Randle. They'll never do anything substantial right now because they think you're happy. Okay? And that's the problem. And that's why things are never going to change. And it's driving me crazy because people call me negative when I'm just being honest and I'm assessing what's on the floor. 2 or 3 years ago, when I was excited that the Knicks didn't end up with Durant when he was hurt, and when I was excited about what the Knicks did in that offseason, I was excited about going into that season when they had the 4th seed, people called me a homer. And now you call me a negative. So it's, I'm just honest. Whatever the way is that I believe the team is going, I'm going to call it like it is. And that's what you're going to get here from me on Bad Weather Fans and on Twitter at Nick Central. And if you don't like it, then go fuck yourself. And I'm just so tired of the people that just want to well, guess what? Randle 26 and 15. And guess what? This is the Knicks are first in defense and their defensive rating and their VORP and the bucket, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. This team stinks. They're average. They don't stink. I'm sorry. They are an average team, and they could have been better, and they still can be better with this roster if they got rid of somebody and they fired somebody, but they'll never do it because they think you're happy. So I hope you fucking enjoy this because you know what? This is what it's going to be all season. Sorry.
I thought it was, I think it's really fascinating when I always hear about the Nets and they give guys too much minutes. Literally everybody on the least amount of minutes from a starter was 33 and Quinn Grimes. The Knicks got only 9 points from their bench, and that's you're not going to win games with that kind of minute distribution and that kind of lack of depth. It really kind of hurt the Knicks at the end, and you could see, like you talk about with Quickly, like it was just too much. It just ended up hurting. It was just you can't live like that every game. Those are what like playoff minutes look like in a best of 7, not playing the Bucks, who, in my opinion, I've watched a bunch of the Bucks now, and it's just the regular season. I'll say it. I think the Nets are better. I really believe it. After watching like the way they play defense on the perimeter, the way they didn't switch, and the Knicks have more girth to guard Giannis. I'll say that with Randle and Mitchell, and the Nets don't have that. They have a tall front line, but Claxton, who's ascending right now, and then Durant, they're thin. I don't know if they're equipped to guard Giannis as well as the Knicks are, but man, I'll tell you right now, I think the Bucks are kind of more frauds, and the Knicks they truly crumbled when that game with that. The Knicks should have won that game. They fucking blew that game. And I hear your frustration. I get your frustration. You see that, and you see. It's interesting though, because like RJ Barrett's not even playing. Obi Toppin played finally, but it's going to take a minute coming off an injury. I don't expect much right away. It's going to take a minute to get into his groove,
and no Jericho Sims tonight for some reason. I have no idea why. It makes no sense. Sorry, go ahead.
It's just not much from the bench, not much at all. And the Knicks go down, and it was weird for me, Alex. I'll be completely honest with you. And I enjoyed your rant. That was fun.
Thank you.
From a net perspective, the Knicks beating the Bucks tonight is a good thing. Just from the standings, they are back and forth with a 2-3 seed. But I'll just be completely honest. I still found myself rooting for the Bucks, which was bad because I know in the long run I should not have been. I just couldn't help it. Couldn't help.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, all these games, back and forth matter a little bit. Couldn't help myself. But I did watch this game, and like I saw Grayson Allen, I saw Giannis, and I said, man, I fucking hate both these teams so much. And it was just so ugly to watch. Like, it's like, because I know there's gonna be a moment where I can't stand the Bucks. And I always, my feelings of the Knicks. I was just watching this game. I was like, I just hate both of these teams. I can't wait for this to be over.
Yeah, I mean, you say the Nets are better than the Bucks. Let's say fully healthy. We don't know because Middleton hasn't been healthy, and now Durant is down, and that's a big deal. And it's what I've been telling you on the show. That Durant is injury prone now, man, and he's going to be out for his yearly month. He's going on vacation now to the doctor's office, and he's going to get healthy, and it sucks for him because it's a freak injury. But you know what? He's hurt again. And however you get hurt, you're still injury prone. You know what I mean? We used to get on Travis Darnell for always getting injured, and it's not his fault. He gets hit in the arm and the wrist with a ball. But it's just, you know what? You're injury prone.
But who cares? Like to me, I just find that to be a dumb debate. Like, is he injury prone or not? Like, he's injured.
That's just what people say. Nets fans, I'm responding to Nets fans.
I'm like, shit, he's out again for a month. He's right. However you want to define it.
It wasn't at you specifically.
I don't care. To me, I'm like, yeah, he's out. I think for Net fans, they'll kind of prepare themselves for this moment. I'm just glad it's not more. I mean, you see something like that, and it is a freak thing, and you get scared. And all indications are this is not as bad as what had happened last year for KD. I will say this about Kevin Durant, and you could say he's injury prone. And unfortunately, I have the data to tell you when he comes back from injuries, he's still awesome.
Yeah, but last year when he was gone, they had an 11-game losing streak.
It's a very different team. And I would say that if I've seen Knicks fans say that, and to make the argument that this is last year's team is erroneous. Because Alex, I could say the year before they went 27-12 without him.
Okay.
And they were great. Again, he's injured and he's hurt. But to support that they're going to be that bad this time, I'm not saying they're going to be that
bad. I'm just saying that so you give me data, I give you data, and that's just, we'll see what happens this time.
But look at last year they were starting Day'Ron Sharpe, Kessler Edwards, and Patty Mills. Those guys don't play in the Nets anymore.
Mm-hmm. And what
That's a big
happens when Kyrie
difference.
has all the pressure on him again? When he doesn't have the defense off of him with Durant, they're not on
I
Durant, they're on him
obvious-
now. He's not, it's going to be tough.
They're not a championship team without Kevin Durant. I think that's obvious. But I don't think I'll say this. I think as a Net fan, it was very encouraging to see Kevin Durant go out in the third quarter. The Nets go down 10 to the Heat in Miami and Kyrie lead a comeback. I thought that was very encouraging.
Right. But you know that it's one game, and it was the game that he got hurt. It's a little different than when you're grinding every game. You have the emotions are going in that one game. Let's win this one for Kevin. He's hurt, and then now it's like, oh fuck.
It's also a month, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a month.
Yeah,
now,
it'll be after the break probably. We talked about this earlier.
I don't
before the show.
I'm not going to speculate if it's before or after. It's going to be about a month. And if you want to go up a little, you want to go back a little. The Nets are very cautious with this. It's not as bad of an injury as it was in the past. I'm just saying to relive that the Nets are going to be as bad as last year. If you look at who they were rolling out on the court, two parts to it. Kyrie Irving was not a full-time player. He was only playing on road games, not home games. James Harden was halfway out the door. It's a different situation. And I'm not saying it's going to be the extreme of, oh, this team's got it. They're going to go to a roll. They're going to win games. It's going to be difficult. This is going to be challenging. Ben Simmons has to play better. Obviously, guys are going to need to step up. You're losing a top 3 player in the league that's an automatic bucket that's been incredible, no doubt. But I don't think we can also then sit here and be like, here comes the 10-game losing streak, or here comes the 7-20 record. I don't think it's one of the extreme or the other. I think it's going to be somewhere down the middle. And I hope for the best, and we'll see what happens. But I don't think it's as can't go into this. It's a different team with a different mentality and a very different roster. And as a team right now, and anybody that's watched the Nets knows, you don't go 18-2 because of one guy. This is a collective effort, and they're all playing great. And Nick Claxton right now is at a special level where he's going to get Defensive Player of the Year award votes. The guy's got 3 blocks plus in 6 straight games. He's leading the league in blocks. He's first in field goal percentage. He is a menace inside and has taken a humongous leap right now. The Nets have depth. TJ Warren. I'm not a positive Net fan, but I can't sit here and look at this roster and the way this team's playing and say this team's about to go on an 11-game losing streak. It's going to be difficult. They just lost Kevin Durant, but I truly believe you're not going to see the destruction within the roster. It's just, if you just look at who's on the team, 2 years ago they lost Durant and they had their best stretch of the season. Kyrie was playing out of his mind. It's a different Kyrie Irving than it is last year too, and that can't be taken lightly. The way Kyrie Irving's playing now and is full time, he was a half player last year. He only played in road games. It's a very different team.
Right. No, I hear you. But you know this. I'm not saying that you're saying that you can't count on Kyrie Irving to be there. Like something, you know what I'm saying? There might be something else that comes up. And also Durant's injury is he'll be reevaluated in a few weeks. It's not saying he's going to be back in a few weeks. And the Nets, with their medical history recently in the Durant Big 3 era or whatever, Big 2 era, there have not been very truthful with injuries. It's been weird. It's been Wilpon-esque Mets, era medical, timelines. Well, they'll be back, or they're saying one thing and something else is happening. And that's why you can't be so confident he's going to be back so fast.
I didn't think he's going to be back in 2 weeks. I think he's going to be back in a month.
Right.
Of course, in 2 weeks from now, he'll be reevaluated. They're not going to be like,
different.
All right, Kevin, let's look at the knee. Shit, you're good. See you tomorrow in Milwaukee. It doesn't work like that.
They're not going to play with 5 cracked ribs like the Jets, right?
It's going to be a month. It's going to be 12 to 15 games, and the Nets have to push through. I feel at least good because every time he gets hurt, he's come back and been awesome.
Yeah.
There's data to show that he doesn't get injured and then be like, oh, will he be the same player? Yes.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. I agree.
I mean, you never know, but unfortunately, history shows itself that he's been fine when he comes back. So I feel good about that. And yeah, the Nets just have to keep going, right? Like, it's funny because I haven't heard from Knicks fans in forever. I guess because the Nets are 18-2 in the last 20. They've all been fucking quiet. But today, it's like they all crept out of their holes. 5 more weeks of winter. It was like fucking Groundhog's Day with these assholes, like all coming out with their little snarky remarks.
What do you expect?
It's funny, but it's the disappearing act. I didn't think the disappearing act would be as strong. I guess I realized when the Nets are winning, there's actually nothing Knicks fans have to say about them. They're
It's also they're winning.
silent.
They were winning in December. It's not something to be really nervous about. They're winning in December. It's like if this was the end of the season and they're about to clinch the 2 seed or the 1 seed, and then they're in the playoffs with a great matchup against the bum ass Knicks, then it's a different story. But if they're like if they're crushing it in December and they just came off all this nonsense, this crazy stuff earlier in the season, people aren't believing it. It's year 3 or 4 of this crap that nobody's believing that the Nets are going on a run and winning a title. They're not.
I disagree. Well, I don't. Well, you can disbelieve that you don't think they're winning a title. I'm telling you, I don't think Net haters are disappearing because they're like, we're bored. They're just good. I don't take this seriously. I look at it as they're winning and they don't have ammunition to make their snarky remarks. And I actually feel better. I feel better about this Nets team than I have in a while. It's from watching other teams play.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Like I see the Nets and I see deficiencies, and then I see the Bucks tonight versus the Knicks, and I'm like, they've got a lot more. They're in a tough spot. Like I fear the Celtics. I don't fear the Bucks as much. I really do. I fear the Sixers. There's something about them. I don't know. I know they won the title, but I see Giannis in the fourth quarter, and he can't even shoot the fucking ball. Every time it's the above average role players, and it's the other
no Middleton hurts.
Player.
No Middleton.
But here's the part about the Middleton hurt thing that's annoying, because I would never hear the end of it with other Net players. Middleton has chronically now been a problem. He comes off surgery last year. He's missing games left and right.
Right.
Might not be the same guy. And that's a bigger problem for the Bucks. They might get him back in points, but they're in a weird rhythm and stuff. And it's just, they got their ass kicked by the Hornets. They should have lost to the Knicks. I don't know. Something about Milwaukee doesn't sit right with me. And maybe it's because I'm in the moment with them, but they do not look good.
No, they don't. They don't. And even Clyde and Breen were saying it on the broadcast that the Bucks need to make a trade, but they don't have any assets to make a trade left. So they're kind of stuck with their team and to hope that Middleton comes back and things get better. But for you, during this time that Durant's out, if they go 500 or maybe like a game over or game under, would you take that?
I think you'd have to. Yeah. I mean, I think this is for the Nets. You're going to learn a lot about Ben Simmons in this time. And he's going to need to step up. We'll see. Because when the Nets, 2 years ago, when the Nets played great, not good, they played great without Kevin Durant and made their move. Harden and Kyrie were unbelievable together. Remember, that's when James Harden was getting MVP type consideration. Before then, Durant came back and Harden got hurt, of course. We all remember the rest.
Of course.
So, which is the worst. But they got that offensive punch. Where does the other offensive punch come from? Where do they get scoring? Losing KD. But this team is so much better than last year's. I mean, look at like James Johnson was running the point. Now at least you got guys with TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal, the depth, Utah Watanabe, the depth on this team is so much better than the past. I can't see them having a tailspin. And yet the one thing I haven't brought up, and is a huge difference, they have a head coach now, and they didn't have one last year. That's a big difference. As you started this podcast talking about how much you're angry at Coach Thibs and how poor of a job he's done, the way Jacques Vaughn has rallied this team together and brought them together, it's different than Steve Nash when this went down. That is a huge force that I feel a lot better on, that they have a coach and a coach that the players are buying in with. I'm nervous as hell. It sucks. I'm going to be very uptight without KD, but in my gut of guts, I can't see them going on a tailspin. I think they're going to just tread water and wait till he gets back.
Yeah, and one player that's really impressed me from the Nets is Watanabe. I honestly was not familiar with his game, the Shaq meme. I really was not familiar with his game, because the only thing I knew about him was getting dunked on by Anthony Edwards. And dude can play, man. That was a really sneaky pickup. And I got to give the Nets credit for that.
No, Sean Marks in this offseason has nailed it. I mean, Watanabe's been good. TJ Warren's now giving them a scoring punch. Royce O'Neal has hit clutch shot after clutch shot and basket. I mean, they need a beefy guy, I guess, but they've done Edmund Sumner's been solid and giving them spark minutes. I mean,
how about Isaiah Hartenstein? You want him?
No, I can't. I cannot tell you how good Nick Claxton is getting.
No, I know, but they need somebody else. They need some
somebody
size on the bench. Yeah,
they need somebody else. But no, I don't want backup Nick centers. I mean, maybe he would give the Nets a little bulk, a little size.
Shoot the three. Yeah, I know. He's awful. He's awful. And that's another signing that, you know, the toxic positive side of Nick's homers Twitter or wherever celebrated. Oh, we got Isaiah Hartenstein. He's good. We came on the show like the Knicks got, you know, Jalen Brunson, Isaiah Hartenstein, big fucking deal. And you know, I know Brunson has been far outperformed what I thought ever was possible, and I'll take the L on him. And I'm excited for him. I don't care. You know, I don't care about being wrong. I just want the Knicks to win. And Brunson is that guy, man. He looks good. He looks like he's coming to his own. And you know, my buddy Matt texted me actually, and I tweeted this out, that he said that the Knicks might be holding Jalen Brunson back, you know, which is crazy to say, but he might be fucking right. And it's just insane. And we're like wasting time and whatever, man. It's just, I can't.
It's funny. I was more pro on the Brunson side than you were. I liked his game. I thought Dallas really fucked up when that happened. And I was always saying like, hey, you got Brunson, you got Donovan Mitchell. I was like, okay, you're starting to put a team together. And everybody was like, but you're giving away all the assets. And I was like, well, you get those guys, then you start moving forward. Maybe some other guys want to play. And I think if you said you had Brunson and Mitchell as your backcourt, you'd be feeling pretty good about that and feeling pretty solid about that.
That's
also, too, I know that people don't want to trade Julius Randle now because he's playing at an all-star level, but you've got to make the move. And for everybody that's against it, they said, oh, what are you going to just get back? Draft picks? I'll respond with this. You didn't want to send draft picks away because they were so beautiful to get Donovan Mitchell. Don't be so scared about then giving them away because you don't want to get rid of Julius Randle.
Thank you, Michael Biseglia. Great point. Thank you very much. And with
I hope my cat didn't blow it by jumping in the frame. My cat has been blowing all over the place. Just crazy, just jumping left and right all over me. I'm in my new house and I'm trying to keep Leon in this room. So he's with me at night and I can't really. So I apologize to the people that watch this on YouTube and my cat just coming in my face and jumping in my face
and blowing all over you. Yeah.
Blowing. It's just been nonstop. Love you, Leon. I'll take a photo.
We should wait a few. I was about to read the spot. Maybe we should wait like 30 seconds.
No, you can read it.
Anyway,
goddamn cat.
Bad Weather Fans podcast is sponsored by DraftKings. The NFL playoff picture is locked in, and my go-to place for wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off the road to the Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action's so good, why bet the NFL playoffs anywhere else but DraftKings? So this weekend for me, Mike, I think I'm going with the Bucks getting points. It's hard to bet against Tom Brady when he's getting points in the playoffs. So I'm taking the Bucks +3 this weekend. That's just like how do you bet against that anyway? Even though I want Tom Brady to lose, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BWF for Bad Weather Fans. That's BWF. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BWF. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And guess what? I can't read, but it's okay. My eyes are tired.
Best one of the best weekends of the year. And I know everybody hates the 17 games now, but it does create the 6 games for the weekend. Mm-hmm. The 3 on Saturday, the 2 on Sunday, and then the Monday nighter with Brady to end it. Uh-huh. So, you know, for as much as people bitch about it, here's more football that you're all going to watch. I get it. But I always say to people, we were doing sports radio at the time when the news broke on the extra game, and everybody's like, I hate this. It's losing the integrity. This is awful. Are you going to watch the game? Well, yeah. Well, they got you by the balls, and it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Don't watch the game then.
Well, it's like the extra innings rule in baseball with the runner on second. You know, that everybody hated it, but you still watch because it's the game that you want to watch. It doesn't mean you like it.
Stuff. Although it does get irritating. I was always, and you know me with baseball, like advance the sport.
anything quirky.
It's like, oh, it's 1940. This is the way we've always done it. Well, yeah, okay. That doesn't mean it's a lot of things that, it's modern times. Times change. Things get better.
Yeah, I do
But
miss
some of the baseballs. The second base
hitting
thing was ridiculous.
I do miss the pitcher hitting and no DH in the NL. I'm old school like that. I just miss the difference of leagues and the more strategy. Your bench means more. It's just I don't know. I just miss that. But what am I going to do? I'm going to cry about it forever.
Sucks.
What'd you say?
And the Mets DH situation's not good. They don't even have a DH.
Yeah, no, they got big Volgy. That was fun.
Yeah. All right. What's your Knicks poll question today? Who we pissed off?
Weekly Knicks poll question. I actually skewed positive for this one, Mike. At Knicks Central, I put out a tweet for a poll question. I guess that's what I'm saying. And let's see. And I read some responses on the podcast. So this week's, what's your favorite part of the season so far? And comment why. Quickly and Deuce McBride playing well. Brunson at the point. Randle's resurgence or Mitchell Robinson's defense. Mike, what do you think won?
Brunson.
Brunson by far. 56% Brunson.
And then let me guess the
what
percentage?
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you think the percentage was?
87%.
No, 56.
Oh man, okay. Should have gone with my gut. Okay, anyway, go for it.
27.6% Randle resurgence, 13.7% Quickly and Deuce playing well, and coming up last, Mitch Robinson with 2.6%. Some shout outs.
I guess that was the Mitch voting.
Yeah, that was bad. Let's see. A few shout outs. Our boy Boston Nick. He's at Boston Nick. So I guess he's in Boston as a Nick fan. There's no wrong answer here, fans. So thanks for that. And then we have, I love Boston Nick. He's great. Big fan of the show. We have just busting his balls. Let's see. Steel Glory at RIDU. Oh, Read the Boys Design. Brunson, I haven't seen point guard play at this level on the Knicks in my lifetime, and I'm not young. And I see his picture, and he is definitely not young.
How old?
I'd say he looks late 40s. He looks late 40s. so he missed Clyde. Let's see. But he did see Jackson and Strickland, so that's a little odd. But, whatever. Our boy Nickinator _ at Nickinator _ Quentin Grimes. I knew more or less that what Brunson would be. Mitch finally maturing. Is about time for me. Still great to see. Grimes going from situational to starter and thriving has been a key. So people are saying Grimes. At Knicks 505 said Grimes. Frank Abagnale the third at King Cantona 14. He said Thibs. I don't know why you would say Thibs as a positive. You're just trying to be a troll. Jimmer Monroe at Mrs. Self Defeat. Cam Reddish being benched. Come on, let's get some serious answers here. Here we go. DJ at Ace _ Zulo. Randle's resurgence is the most important thing to happen this year by a wide margin. His contract status moving forward from negative to positive is franchise altering. I think that's a little much, and that was also before tonight's game and shooting. Let's do one more. We have at AO 10 SEII. Brunson and RJ Barrett resurgence. Not a section, but I'm loving it. Okay, so there you go. That's your weekly Knicks poll question on Bad Weather Fans.
From your weekly now net 0 being it's over. Kevin Durant's now on the Knicks or on another team. To 10, oh boy, they're gonna win this. Where is your last week? It was 7, right?
It's been 2 weeks in a row with 7. Yeah.
Nets lose a game finally.
Mm-hmm.
But we did the podcast after they lost, right? No, we did not.
Yeah, they did. After they lost to the Bulls, I think it was the day after.
Oh, we did do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Credit to the
Nets.
Nets.
They just come off a long ass winning streak.
True. Okay, so they did lose. So the Nets then after that have won 2 straight. They get good wins in New Orleans and then a good win yesterday in Miami, who's starting to play better basketball. Of course, now KD hurt. Nets play the Celtics on Thursday. Boston, the only team in the NBA with a better record than the Nets. Where do you have them falling now with some of the action from the last week?
Well, with the Durant injury, I'm going down to a 6. From a 7 to a 6. I'm less worried now that he's hurt. Mike's cat knocked his microphone off the screen.
Jeez, and this is just all part of the pleasure if you watch this on YouTube. So you're going with a 6?
I'm going down to 6. The Durant injury, until he's back on the court and things are rolling again, I'm not going to be worried because this is just typical and what I expected. So, not worried.
Not worried. But a 6 is a little worry.
6 is a little worried, but I'm going down. I'm going the other way now. I was going up and I was staying up and I was like, oh no. You know what I mean? For a little while, but now it's taking a step back.
If the interesting question for you. Let's say the Nets started winning without Durant. Would that give you more of a like, oh shit, than if they're winning? I guess probably. But if the Nets, I'm not saying they go 11 straight, but if the Nets go 7-3 without him, how would that change your viewpoint of how would that change your viewpoint of the Nets?
Probably go back up to a 7 because that means they're going to be a top 2 or 3 seed. Easy. If Durant comes back and is rolling in a month. You know what I mean? So I would probably go back up to a 7. And, I know what you're saying because he's only hurt. He's not out for the season. If he's out for the season, they start winning some games. I'm still not going to be worried because he's not coming back.
Sure.
But like a minor injury like this seems to be, and he's just out a month or so. I'm going backwards to a 6 because I feel like they could fall down a little bit and you never know what can happen. This is when it usually starts to fall apart for them. I mean, I know 2 years ago it didn't, you said, but like this is like
last year it did. This is where it fell apart for them last year.
Right. And this is when it can get too much for Ben Simmons. It can get too much for Kyrie with the defense or like just zeroing in on him. And it puts pressure on the other guys like Royce O'Neal and these other guys to step up. So this is when it could really, it's the breaking point of their season right now.
I don't know.
Finish.
Go breaking.
I mean, how can you say it's not? I mean,
define breaking point to what?
Where they're going to finish in the standings.
It has an impact on that. But I don't see the breaking point of their season.
Well, then, okay, fine. Breaking point of where they're going to finish in the standings.
No, it has a big impact losing, the
best player on the team. Yeah,
the MVP level guy that's playing at that level. Sure, that makes a huge impact. Now, I always had said for them, just take the regular season seriously. They clearly have done that. They're beyond taking the regular season seriously. They're winning games by their defense, right? Mm-hmm. They gave up 36 points or something to the Heat in the second half last night. They won because of their defense, not because they could score the basketball. They won because of clutch plays. They did the same thing with the Pelicans. They couldn't score. They won because of their defense. So I feel good about that part. But yeah, I mean, this is what happens over this next couple of weeks is big. Stay afloat, get the Kevin back. They're taking the regular season seriously. Hopefully this is just all part of that journey for them. That's how I got to look at it. I just, you can't freak out. You got to just keep building. And hopefully, I mean, if you're a Net fan, hopefully, we look back on this and go, everything you questioned, they did. Now they got Durant back. Giddy up.
Yeah. And, some to bring back the theme on the Knicks, the toxic positive fans out there are like, when the Knicks get Obi and RJ back and they're winning games, oh man, look out. It's not really the same as getting Durant back. So, I'm just making fun of them. But real quick, I wanted to bring this up. I've been watching that Shaq interview / documentary on HBO Max. Have you heard about that?
I watched 5 minutes and I haven't. I know what you're talking about. Yes,
it's fantastic. So the first episode is really good. It talks about his life and when growing up into the Magic years, and then the second one is all about his first title in the Lakers era and running up to the first title. And then the third one I can't wait for is when they play a certain team that you're a fan of, right? So, when they're that finals round, I'm looking forward to that episode. So I'm hoping to see a young Mike Biseglia in the stands.
You might. Section 109, row 7, seat 910. You'll find us.
It's really great. Any basketball fan, I highly recommend that. And the Redeem Team doc, if you haven't gotten to that. Those two are really, really good. It's right up my alley, these kinds of things.
I am I'm in the middle of White Lotus. Don't say anything, anybody, if you've seen it. My biggest pet peeve in life, this is not a joke, is when people spoil TV shows for me.
I hate it. Especially on like social media. Like, why do you need to tell me what you watched?
And not even just like a little bit. Not like, saying a little bit. Not even like, oh, this won't matter. Let me tell you something. I go, no, I don't want. Nothing. Unless I've finished the show, don't say anything to me about it, because there's something you'll say and it does give something away. And it happens every time. No, this won't matter. It always does. I hate that. It drives me nuts. Once we've completed the show or we're on the same episode together in tandem, we can have we can watch. I was doing a fucking Peloton ride. I was taking a Cody ride, and he starts talking about White Lotus. I had to mute the ride for 3 minutes
because you're nervous.
Knowing this,
like
I couldn't.
I'm just trying to fucking work out here.
And I was like, no. He's like, oh, and White Lotus. Let me say, and I won't say what he said because I don't want to be that guy. But I was like, what are you doing?
Right.
I don't blow. I hate.
The only time I understand somebody tweeting out about it or talking about it is if it's like the last episode of, let's say, Game of Thrones or Sopranos, when everybody's watching it.
Sure.
And like you have to watch it because everybody's going to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like something like that. A big show now, like
I get that,
like Snowfall or Power or some shit. Like the last episode of the series. I understand, and because I know social media is going to spoil it for me for the shows like that. I make sure I watch it on time, or I like mute every word possible about the mute character names because I fucking hate that too.
It's brutal. So, we agree on something to end the show.
People who like live tweet TV shows, like if it's 1997 and everybody's like watching Friends together, like nobody's watching shows like that anymore. Everybody watches it on their own time.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Anyway, everybody.
I hate it.
Just use promo code BWF, Bad Weather Fans, and make sure you play on DraftKings. Download the app.
Yes. Please download the app and use promo code BWF. $5 and you get $200 and $10 in free bets. I just end the Jets season, man. Put a bow on that real quick. They need to fire everybody and they won't.
I agree.
Joe Douglas, I'm okay because he had a good draft this year, so you got to give him another chance, even though his first one was horrible. But like, the previous ones are horrible. How do you keep a guy that wins 4 games and then is 7-4 and then finishes 7-10? Like, how do you finish? How do you bring a guy back like that? If you flip the season, like let's say they started off 1-6,
the Lions.
Yeah, and then they do the other. Then you can bring him back because you're like, wow, yeah, exactly, Lions, perfect. And like you turn it around, and you're like, oh man, we were turning the corner as a franchise. I understand that, but he might not even make it to the end of the season if you do something like that. So it's just like you won some games against some backups. You won that miracle game in Cleveland. You beat the Packers. Okay, they were terrible at the time. You know what I mean? You should have beat the Vikings. You should have beat the Ravens. You should have beat all of these teams. And it's just. I don't understand how you bring this guy back. He doesn't know what he's doing. You start Flacco the first 3 games of the season for no reason, just because Joe Benigno's been saying this since the start. And he's been on the money with this. The Jets were scared that Mike White is better than Zach Wilson, and he is. And that's why he didn't start the first 3 games of the season. They're more worried about Zach Wilson being successful than they are as winning fucking games. And that's the big problem with this franchise, is that it never matters. Wins and losses never matter. They're like, oh, we're building. Look at the fucking Giants. They've been terrible for years. They fired coaches here and there just to get the right guy, and now they got the right guy, and they're in the fucking playoffs. The Jets can't do that. Like, no, we got to give it 3 years. You never know. We got to turn around. Like, give me a break, man.
You either know or you don't know. I think that, and I would say don't keep somebody around because of your past history of firing coaches and thinking it just looks bad to the league and looks bad to everybody. Oh, they fired somebody again. If you don't think he's the guy, it's better off just to admit you made a mistake and move forward. I agree on the GM. I think he should say there. Obviously didn't work out with Zach Wilson. But the other players, the skill position players, definitely elevated with the Jets. But don't keep somebody around because you're embarrassed of just how bad you've been in the past. And you say the Giants, and it's an easy example because it's a team in the same building. But they made the move. They got rid of Joe Judge. And clearly, Brian Daboll right now has rectified everything for this team. They're in the playoffs. Daniel Jones is balling out. The team came together defensively at the end of the season and improved. And if you're a Giants fan, you're going into this game versus the Vikings as house money. You really have nothing to lose. You don't want to get your ass kicked, but you go into this game with not going to be, some people, like I did, picked them to win, but you came into the season without any expectations. Now you're in the playoffs. You're in Minnesota. It's house money for them, and they've changed things around. It's because even though they had been going through coaches left and right with McAdoo and Shermer and Joe Judge, they said, you know what? This is not the right guy. Let's make the change. And it worked out. And you can't be afraid to do it. And it's a different day and age with sports, too. It's not like in the past where guys were around for so long. If there's instant gratification, and it's okay. It's okay. Hey, it didn't work out. move on, find somebody that works because the talent's there. Find a quarterback, which is going to be a hard task, but get the right coach in place. Don't just keep somebody because you're kind of like, well, he wasn't that bad. I mean, he wasn't good, so let's just keep it because it's kind of ho hum in the middle. And for us, that's better than enough, right? Like, find your guy, move on.
Right. And it's the same thing with the Knicks. Like you're average, so you're happy. And then Jets haven't even been average, they've been bad. And this was a bad season. I don't want to hear that they almost doubled their win total. They went from 4 to 7. Like that's not an accomplishment when you're 7-4, 6-3.
Problem. Expectations change.
Right.
When you start off that strong and you look that good and just completely collapse, changes everything. It's all with context. You can't look at it in a vacuum of, well, they run this amount last year and they won this amount this year. It doesn't work like that, especially in the NFL.
Right. And it's not even like the Pete Carroll year with the Jets in the 90s when he was the coach for 1 year. They were like 6-5, and then the fake spike happened. I did something around that, and then the fake spike happened, and they lost the rest of their games. And Kotite took over, and they lost for 2 years in a row. And then Parcells came in, and they're like, "Oh, you got to turn this dumpster fire around." They're 1-15. They went 9-7 the next year, and almost made the playoffs in the week 17. The year after that, they were 12-4 and in the AFC Championship game. It's the NFL. You can turn around. I know it's a different league now, but it's the NFL. You can turn it around. It's not 1999 and 1998 anymore, 1997, but teams can do it. You can turn it around if you get the right guy in here. And a coach is more important in the NFL than any other sport. And it's just so crazy to me that the Jets are so okay with being bad and like, we have a plan. Your plan sucks. They always suck. It always sucks. Ever since Tebow, the plans have been garbage. You had one good year in 2015 and you blew it. And it's just a joke, man. I'm just so tired of it. Can you guess, actually, really quick, who do you think has the best odds to win the Super Bowl on DraftKings Sportsbook app? Best odds.
I would venture out. Sorry,
I put you on the spot.
I would say it's either going to be the Chiefs or the Bills. I mean,
yeah,
one of those two
for sure.
And I know the way things have. I'll say the Bills.
Yeah,
ahead of the Chiefs.
To go down the list: Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Eagles, Bengals, Cowboys, Chargers, Bucks, Ravens, Vikings, Jaguars, Giants, Dolphins, Seahawks. Seahawks plus 7,000. But they're not winning a Super Bowl. Yeah, but like the Vikings plus 3,500. That's a good bet, man. I know they had a lot of close games this year, but like that's a good bet. It's really hard to imagine them winning the Super Bowl, and I know Gio would laugh at us. He's been on the show, and we know how big of a Vikings fan he is on WFN. But like 30 plus 3,500 for a team that was like they win 12 games this year. What was their record? I know they were 12-4 going into the last
13 games, maybe. I mean, the Niners and them, they all finished around the same spot, but it was
13-4. The 17 game records just sound icky. It's just
hard to remember. And then the Eagles
13-4.
I mean, at the bye, nobody's going to pick the Eagles in the NFC.
No, and they're plus 550. Why would you pick that? You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, regardless of the picks.
It's just crazy to me how the Vikings are plus 3,500 and they're 13-4 in the season. I know they had all the close wins this year and whatever, but they won the fucking games and they got the best player in football in Justin Jefferson.
I thought you were going to say Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, no way. But
I think losing, when they did lose, it was an embarrassment, and they won a bunch of close games. So I think there's a belief that they're a bit of frauds.
Yeah, which is possible,
and that they'll get picked off.
But you know what? They got home field advantage, and in the first round at least, and we'll see what happens. And Chargers are a good bet too at plus 2,000. But I can't imagine. And this makes no sense. But I can't imagine two teams from LA winning in back-to-back seasons. That'd be crazy. But in the same,
I hope it's some. I mean, obviously, I'm rooting for the Giants. I have realistic expectations, but I hope it's like. I mean, part of me is definitely digging the Bills, like everything that had happened, and rooting for. I know you're a Jet fan, and I get you don't want to see that,
but it's different with the Bills right now. It's you get the.
I mean, it would be a fan base. Everything that had happened with DeMar Hamlin, the emotions there, and then it's in a franchise that, you think you and I are craving titles, like, the Bills are one of those teams, man. They're definitely on that list.
Yeah. Well, they at least got to the Super Bowl 4 straight years, which is probably more torture than happiness.
Which is probably more of an accomplishment than winning one. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, but getting to 4 straight Super Bowls
is insane.
Hell of an accomplishment. I mean, it is
That'll
a
never happen
remarkable
again.
stat. I don't
Yeah.
think so. I mean, it
No.
really. I
No,
mean, you
it
see
will not.
my net towel. That was their back-to-back years going to finals.
Yeah, that was
Lost
an
that one, man.
accomplishment.
Not the
Yeah.
Bills.
Yeah, I can't wait for that Shaq episode to watch the Nets lose. That would be
I don't.
great.
How much are they going to even say about that? That series.
I don't know. They
I
went into
mean,
detail an episode. I don't want to give it away, but I mean, you know what happened. Went into a
yeah.
lot of detail his first title, so I'm sure. But that was his first one. That was a big deal.
Well,
To get
winning in
that first
Jersey
one.
was probably cool for him.
Maybe we'll see. Yeah, because he talks about his time in Jersey and everything, and how he traveled. It's really phenomenal. You got to watch it. It goes into really detail about his young life. Everybody knows the story of his military family and
Yeah.
whatever, a lot. But like, you got to see it. You got to see it. Everybody's got to see it. HBO Max. It's really good. It's good. Treadmill watching if you're at the gym or something. But yeah, so that's it. That's all I got.
All right, that's all he's got. Watch the Shaq movie. Watch White Lotus. Don't blow the endings for us.
Yeah.
Glad you enjoyed Bad Weather Fans. Knicks losers tonight to the Milwaukee Bucks, 111-107. Nets, they'll be without Kevin Durant for about a month or so. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. We'll see exactly what that is. Nets 18-2 in their last 20. They've moved up to number 2 in the Eastern Conference, but the Bucks right up their patoot. Knicks losers tonight. Their 4-game winning streak comes to an end. This has been Bad Weather Fans. Don't forget, everybody, you can find this on YouTube where you can see my cat jumping around the computer screen, annoying. I love you, Leon, but it's a little much. Don't forget as well, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and now on Amazon Music. You can find us there. So if you want to hear the podcast, we've expanded a little bit.
And Odyssey. We're on Odyssey also. Did you know that?
Are we?
Yeah, we're on the Odyssey app too. Look at us. Fancy.
Or as they say, you can find Bad Weather Fans wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. That's a CTA for y'all.
And
call to action.
Bad Weather Fans, BWF on DraftKings Sportsbook app when you sign up and you get some free stuff. So support us there by doing that, and support us by downloading some episodes and subscribing and thumbs up and do whatever you can to help us out. 5 stars, comment, everything, please.
Bad Weather Fans, episode 152. I said it last week. I'll say it again. A lot can change in a week. We'll see where these squads are next week on 153. Alex, talk to you later.
Have a good one.